Have you ever wondered why the image of a serpent appears again and again across the world's oldest myths, sacred texts, and mystical traditions? Why does this creature, both feared and revered, slither through the hidden corridors of human imagination, leaving behind symbols of wisdom, danger, healing, and transformation? The snake is one of the most ancient and enduring symbols in human history. In one story, it is the deceiver of Eden, whispering forbidden knowledge to humanity. In another, it is the coiled Kundalini energy sleeping at the base of the spine, waiting to awaken and arise toward enlightenment. To the ancients of Egypt, it was the Uraeus, worn upon the crown of pharaohs as a mark of divine authority and protection. To the Greeks, it twined around the staff of Asclepius, embodying the power to heal and restore life. So which is it? Is the serpent a symbol of destruction or creation? Darkness or light? Temptation or liberation? The truth, as always in the world of mysticism, lies not in choosing one side, but in embracing the paradox. For the snake is a mirror. Its meaning shifts depending on the eyes that behold it, the mind that interprets it, and the soul that seeks to understand it. Consider the serpent's very nature. It crawls close to the earth, in intimate contact with the soil, reminding us of mortality, cycles, and decay. Yet it sheds its skin in a ritual of death and rebirth, teaching us that no form is permanent and no identity fixed. The snake carries in its silent body both the shadow of mortality and the promise of immortality. It is as if nature herself encoded in this creature the greatest lesson of spiritual life, that transformation requires letting go of what we were in order to become what we are meant to be. In this video, we will journey deep into the esoteric meaning of snakes in mysticism. We will trace their presence through ancient philosophies, hidden teachings, and spiritual practices. We will uncover why mystics, sages, and initiates throughout history have been fascinated by this enigmatic creature, and what lessons it still holds for us today. We will begin by exploring the historical and philosophical context of the serpent, from ancient civilizations to sacred scriptures. Then we will enter the core teachings, what the serpent represents in the language of symbols, psychology, and spiritual awakening. Finally, we will bring the wisdom down into practice, how the snake's mysteries can be applied in your own spiritual path, guiding you through transformation, healing, and awakening. The serpent has always been a guardian at the threshold of higher knowledge. Sometimes it coils at the gate, testing the seeker's courage. Other times, it slithers beside the initiate, guiding them through the labyrinth of the soul. Tonight, we approach this guardian, not to fear it, not to worship it, but to listen to its silent wisdom. For the snake's secrets, once unveiled, might just change the way you see yourself, your journey, and the hidden fabric of the universe.
To understand the serpent in mysticism, we must step back into the ancient world where symbols spoke louder than words and animals were not merely creatures, but embodiments of cosmic truths. The snake was never just a snake. It was a cipher for mysteries too vast to be spoken directly. In ancient Egypt, the serpent was both feared and revered. The cobra, known as the Uraeus, adorned the headdresses of pharaohs, rising from the brow like a flame. It represented the divine fire of protection, authority, and illumination. Yet in the underworld texts, serpents also lurked as guardians of the night journey, creatures that could devour the soul if the initiate was not prepared. The Egyptians understood the duality of the serpent, protector and destroyer, life-giver and life-taker. Moving eastward to India, the serpent becomes Naga, a race of semi-divine beings, part human and part snake, dwelling in hidden realms. The Nagas were keepers of treasures, not only of gold, but of secret wisdom. They were associated with water, fertility, and the cycles of renewal. More profoundly, Hindu and yogic traditions speak of Kundalini Shakti, a serpent power coiled at the base of the spine. When awakened, it ascends through the chakras, igniting spiritual transformation and union with the divine. Here, the snake is not external. It lives within the seeker. In Greece, the serpent entwined itself around the staff of Asclepius, god of healing. To this day, the symbol remains in medicine, reminding us that the power to harm and the power to heal are two sides of the same coin. Plato referenced the serpent's cyclical shedding as a metaphor for the soul's immortality, while the Orphic mysteries saw the cosmic serpent as the creative force that encircled the universe. In Abrahamic traditions, however, the serpent often plays a darker role. In the book of Genesis, it tempts Eve to taste the fruit of knowledge, leading to humanity's exile from paradise. Yet even here, a hidden thread weaves beneath the surface. The serpent as the awakener, the one who dares to challenge innocence with the burden and the gift of awareness. For what is knowledge, if not both a blessing and a curse? Meanwhile, in Mesoamerican cultures, the serpent takes the form of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god, a paradox of birth and sky, matter and spirit. Quetzalcoatl was a teacher of wisdom, science, and the calendar, guiding humanity to live in harmony with cosmic cycles. Again, we see the serpent not as a demon, but as a bridge between worlds. Across traditions, a pattern emerges. The snake is never one-dimensional. It is liminal, existing on the boundary between opposites. It crawls on the earth, but can rise like a column of fire. It represents death, yet also renewal. It is wisdom hidden in darkness, waiting for those brave enough to seek it. Mystics and philosophers saw in the serpent the very structure of existence, cycles of life and death, the spiral of time, the coiling of energy, the eternal dance of destruction and creation. Perhaps this is why the serpent appears so universally, etched in caves, carved in temples, whispered in myths. It is not merely a cultural accident, but a symbol arising from the collective psyche, pointing us to a truth that transcends language and geography. To the uninitiated, the serpent is a creature of fear. To the seeker, it is a guide. And to the initiate, it is a mirror of the self, revealing both the poison we carry and the medicine we seek.
If we wish to unlock the serpent's true meaning in mysticism, we must look beyond history and into the language of symbols. For the snake is not merely a creature of flesh and scales, it is an archetype, a living metaphor that whispers secrets about the soul, the cosmos, and the hidden forces shaping our lives. Let us begin with the most striking quality of the serpent, its ability to shed its skin. This process, seemingly ordinary in nature, has been revered for millennia as a sacred lesson. Shedding is death without dying, an act of release and rebirth. The serpent reminds us that transformation does not require the end of our being, but the end of our attachments, illusions, and identities. Just as the snake abandons its old skin, so too must the seeker abandon false selves, outdated beliefs, and stagnant patterns. The serpent teaches you cannot become what you are meant to be until you let go of what you once were. Another core aspect of the serpent is its coiling, spiraling form. Across cultures, the spiral is a symbol of energy, eternity, and evolution. The snake coils upon itself like the ouroboros, the serpent that devours its own tail, forming a perfect circle. This image, found in ancient Egypt, Greece, and alchemical manuscripts, represents the eternal cycle of creation and destruction, the infinite return. To the mystic,
It reveals a hidden law. All things are one, and all beginnings are also endings. The serpent swallowing its tail is not a monster. It is the universe consuming and recreating itself, an endless loop of existence. In the human body, this spiral energy is reflected in the concept of Kundalini, the coiled serpent resting at the base of the spine. When dormant, it lies asleep, but when awakened through meditation, breathwork, or devotion, it rises, piercing through the chakras like lightning ascending the spine. Mystics describe this as both terrifying and ecstatic. The serpent power burns away illusions, ignites consciousness, and unites the self with the divine. Here, the serpent is not external, but the latent divinity within us, waiting to awaken. But the serpent is not only a teacher of transformation and energy, it is also a keeper of knowledge. Notice how often serpents appear as guardians, the Nagas protecting sacred treasures, the serpent in Eden guarding the tree of knowledge, the serpent gods dwelling at thresholds between worlds. To encounter a serpent is to face a test. Are you ready to hold the wisdom it offers? For wisdom, like venom, can kill the unprepared. Knowledge misused can destroy. Knowledge understood can heal. The serpent, therefore, is the initiator, granting access to truths only when the seeker has developed the strength, humility, and clarity to wield them. Yet there is another layer, perhaps the most paradoxical of all, the serpent as both poison and medicine. From the venom of snakes, modern medicine derives antivenom and powerful healing compounds. Ancient healers knew this mystery well. The same serpent that could bring death could also bring life. This duality lies at the heart of mystical teachings. The very things we fear, suffering, shadow, mortality, are also the sources of our deepest growth. The serpent whispers, "That which poisons you is also that which can heal you." Psychologically, this mirrors our shadow. The serpent often lurks in the subconscious, embodying repressed fears and primal instincts. To confront the serpent within is to face the parts of ourselves we deny: anger, desire, fear, mortality. If we reject the serpent, we remain enslaved by our unconscious drives. But if we confront it, integrate it, and learn from it, we transform shadow into wisdom. Carl Jung himself wrote of the serpent as a symbol of the unconscious, a force that must be integrated for wholeness. Let us not forget the serpent's movement, silent, fluid, close to the ground. Unlike creatures that walk or fly, the snake moves in direct contact with the earth. It teaches humility, grounding, and intimacy with the cycles of nature. And yet, the same creature can rise, coiling upward like a column of energy, defying gravity itself. In this way, the serpent reflects the human journey, rooted in the earth, yet yearning for the heavens. Summarizing these layers, we can see that the serpent in mysticism is a multidimensional archetype. Transformation through the shedding of skin, eternity and unity through the ouroboros, spiritual awakening through the rising Kundalini, knowledge and initiation through its role as guardian, duality of life and death, poison and medicine, shadow integration through facing the unconscious, balance of earth and heaven through its movement and form. The serpent is never one thing, it is always both. It embodies paradox because truth itself is paradoxical. It destroys to heal, hides to reveal, frightens to liberate. And in this paradox lies its deepest teaching. Reality cannot be reduced to one pole or the other. It is only when we embrace opposites, life and death, shadow and light, poison and cure, that we step into the wholeness the serpent represents. In this way, the serpent is not only a creature from myth, but a map of the soul's journey. Every time we face our fears, release old identities, awaken new energy, or transform shadow into wisdom. We walk the serpent's path.
If Part 1 unveiled the serpent as a universal teacher of transformation, energy, and shadow, Part 2 must take us further into the serpent's hidden paradoxes, its role as an initiator, and the less obvious but equally profound meanings that mystics have whispered about for millennia. Let us begin with perhaps the most enigmatic image of all, the serpent as guardian of thresholds. In countless myths, serpents guard temples, gateways, and sacred knowledge. Why? Because every true initiation requires a test. The serpent stands at the boundary between ignorance and wisdom, between the mundane and the divine. It challenges the seeker. Are you willing to face fear itself? Are you prepared to risk transformation? Just as a venomous snake can kill the careless wanderer, sacred knowledge can destroy the unprepared soul. The serpent ensures that only those who are ready, only those who approach with reverence and courage may pass. This leads us to the serpent as a symbol of initiation. In ancient mystery schools, from Egypt to Eleusis, the serpent appeared in rites of passage. Initiates would symbolically face the serpent, not as an external beast, but as their own fear, their own mortality, their own shadow. To emerge victorious was to be reborn. This echoes the words of the alchemists: Visita interiora terri, rectificando in veneis occultum lapidem. Visit the interior of the earth, and by purifying you will find the hidden stone. The earth was not the soil beneath our feet, but the body and psyche. And what did one encounter within? The serpent, coiled in darkness, waiting to be faced. The serpent also embodies cyclical time. Unlike linear time, which moves from past to future, cyclical time returns eternally. The ouroboros, the snake biting its tail, is not only the unity of creation and destruction, but the rhythm of seasons, reincarnation, and cosmic cycles. Mystics saw in the serpent's circle a reminder that life is not a straight path, but a spiral, always revisiting, but never quite the same. Each return offers a chance to ascend to a higher octave, just as the serpent coils upward rather than staying flat. But beyond cycles lies another truth, the serpent as cosmic energy. Ancient cultures often envisioned the universe itself as a great serpent. In Norse mythology, Jormungandr, the world serpent, encircled the seas of earth. In Hindu cosmology, Ananta, the infinite serpent, stretches across eternity, upon whom Vishnu rests. In both, the serpent represents the infinite energy that contains creation. It is not merely an animal, but the structure of reality itself, flowing, coiling, infinite, powerful. Now consider the serpent as a symbol of sexuality and life force. Its shape, movement, and energy have long been linked with generative power. In esoteric traditions, sexuality was never seen as merely physical. It was spiritual fuel, the raw energy that could be transmuted into higher states of consciousness. The serpent here becomes the primal spark of life, urging us to recognize that the very forces we often repress or demonize are the same forces that, when mastered, can propel us into awakening. The serpent whispers, "What you fear as base, you must learn to sanctify." Another layer, the serpent as deceiver and liberator. The paradox in Eden illustrates this beautifully. Was the serpent in Eden a villain for tempting Eve, or was it a liberator, offering knowledge of good and evil. Mystics across centuries have debated this. Some Gnostic texts even portray the serpent as a messenger of higher wisdom, revealing the limitations of blind obedience. Here lies a profound mystical truth. The path to liberation often begins with questioning, with daring to disobey ignorance. The serpent tempts not to destroy, but to awaken. But awakening comes with exile, from comfort, innocence, or illusion. The serpent teaches that truth always carries a cost. From another perspective, the serpent embodies the subconscious mind. It slithers silently, unseen, until it suddenly appears, just as the hidden forces within us influence our lives without our awareness. Dreams of snakes, psychologists suggest, often point to transformation, fear, or the stirring of unconscious energy. In this way, the serpent is not only a cosmic archetype, but a mirror of our inner world. To encounter it is to meet our unspoken desires, fears, and potentials. Perhaps the most subtle but important aspect of the serpent is its teaching of balance. Venom is deadly, yet medicine is born from it. Knowledge liberates, yet it also burdens. Energy awakens, yet it can overwhelm. Every gift the serpent offers has two edges. The mystic learns not to fear one edge, nor cling to the other, but to hold the middle path, to walk between poison and cure, shadow and light, life and death. The serpent teaches equilibrium. If we step back, we see why the serpent recurs across cultures. It is not simply a reptile, but a living scripture. Its body curves into sacred geometry. Its shedding enacts rebirth. Its venom embodies paradox. Its presence at thresholds dramatizes initiation. The serpent is the universal teacher because it reflects the universal journey. Descent into darkness, confrontation with fear, awakening of power, integration of wisdom, and return to wholeness. To dismiss the serpent as evil or to idolize it as purely good is to miss the point entirely. It is not a symbol of one side of existence, but of existence itself, mysterious, dangerous, healing, transformative. The serpent is a mirror of the great mystery, life itself. And so, in mysticism, the serpent is not a creature to be avoided or worshipped, but a companion to be understood. Its lessons whisper to those with ears to hear. Transform, awaken, balance. Fear not the shadow, for within it lies the light.
It is one thing to marvel at the serpent as a symbol, but another to walk its path. Mysticism is not merely theory, it is lived experience. The serpent does not only live in myths, temples, or sacred texts. It lives within us, waiting to be awakened, confronted, and integrated. Let us now explore how you can bring the wisdom of the serpent into your own spiritual practice. 1. The practice of shedding, releasing old skins. The serpent's most obvious lesson is its shedding. To honor this, you might begin a practice of conscious release. Once a month, take time to reflect. What beliefs, habits, or identities no longer serve me? Write them down, acknowledging them without judgment. Then, in a symbolic act, burn or bury the paper. As the smoke rises, or the earth covers the words, imagine yourself leaving behind an old skin. This ritual, simple yet powerful, trains the psyche to let go, to move forward unburdened, to trust in renewal. 2. Awakening the coiled energy, Kundalini, Exercises. The serpent of energy, Kundalini, may sound distant and esoteric, yet its principles can be approached gently. Begin with breath work. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and breathe deeply, focusing your awareness at the base of your spine. Visualize a coiled serpent, glowing with subtle light. With each inhalation, imagine it stirring. With each exhalation, imagine energy rising upward along your spine. Do not force or strain. This is not about speed, but sensitivity. Over time, you may feel subtle shifts, warmth, tingling, or waves of clarity. This is the serpent stirring, your life force remembering its path. 3. Facing the guardian. Shadow work. As guardian of thresholds, the serpent demands that we face our fears. Shadow work is one way to engage this aspect. When strong emotions arise, anger, jealousy, fear, pause and ask, what is this emotion trying to teach me? Instead of rejecting it, sit with it as if it were the serpent itself. Look it in the eyes, breathe with it. Often what we fear holds the key to liberation. By embracing your shadows, you turn venom into medicine, poison into power. 4. The ouroboros meditation, embracing cycles. Visualize the ouroboros, the serpent biting its tail. Imagine it encircling you, not as a prison, but as a sanctuary. As you sit within this circle, meditate on cycles in your life, relationships, seasons, inner moods. Ask yourself, what is ending? What is beginning? How do these cycles nourish one another? This meditation can help you accept impermanence, reduce resistance to change, and see endings not as loss, but as transformation. 5. Balancing poison and medicine. The serpent's venom is both deadly and healing. Reflect this in daily life by transforming what is toxic into what is useful. When anger arises, channel it into action, exercising, creating, speaking truth. When fear grips you, let it sharpen your awareness, making you more present. Every poison in your life contains hidden medicine. Journaling about this can shift your perspective from victimhood to empowerment. 6. Living close to the earth. The serpent's movement, low, silent, close to the soil, reminds us to remain grounded. You can practice this by spending time barefoot on natural earth, walking mindfully, or lying on the ground to feel its solidity. This practice reconnects you with the rhythms of nature, balancing the high energies of awakening with the calm of rootedness. The serpent teaches, reach for the heavens, but remain loyal to the earth. 7. Threshold rituals. Embracing change. Whenever you face a major transition, a new job, a relationship shift, a spiritual leap, create a serpent's threshold ritual. Place an object shaped like a circle or spiral before you. Step through it slowly, with intention. Whisper aloud, I pass through fear into transformation. Such rituals may seem symbolic, but the subconscious responds powerfully to symbols. This act plants the seed of courage within you. 8. Integrating the serpent's lessons in daily life. Ultimately, the serpent's wisdom must become lived wisdom. This means transformation. Be willing to change, even when it feels uncomfortable. Awakening. Cultivate practices, meditation, breath, prayer, that raise awareness. Shadow. Face what you fear instead of suppressing it. Balance. Walk between opposites, knowing both can serve your growth. Cycles. Embrace endings as beginnings in disguise. By living these principles, You do not worship the serpent, you embody its wisdom. You become the initiate who has faced the guardian and emerged with treasure, clarity, strength, and inner freedom. The practical path of the serpent is not always easy. It may challenge your comfort, shake your identity, and force you into the unknown. But this is the nature of initiation. The serpent never offers comfort, it offers truth. And truth, once embraced, transforms everything. So when next you see a serpent, whether in nature, in a dream, or in meditation, pause and remember, you are meeting one of the oldest teachers of humanity. Listen to its silence, feel its paradox, and allow its wisdom to move through you, just as it has moved through sages and seekers for thousands of years.
The serpent has slithered through our journey not as a mere reptile, but as a living scripture written into the soul of humanity. From Egypt's sacred Uraeus to India's coiled Kundalini, from the ouroboros of alchemy to the Serpent of Eden, its presence has been constant, profound, and unsettling. It is not coincidence that across continents and millennia, seekers turned to this mysterious creature to express truths that words alone could never capture. What we have discovered is that the serpent is not one thing, it is everything. It is death and rebirth, shadow and light, poison and medicine, earthbound and divine. Its body teaches geometry. Its movement teaches humility. Its venom teaches paradox. To meet the serpent is to meet life itself, with all its beauty and terror interwoven. The serpent's true meaning in mysticism is transformation. It shows us that we cannot cling to who we were, for the skin must be shed. It reveals that our greatest fears may hide our greatest powers. It whispers that cycles are not traps, but opportunities to ascend. And it teaches us balance, that wisdom lies not in choosing light over dark, but in holding both, letting them dance within us. But this is not just philosophy. The serpent's wisdom becomes real only when lived. Each time you release an old identity, you are shedding skin. Each time you face fear with courage, you are meeting the guardian. Each time you awaken energy within, you are raising the serpent of Kundalini. And each time you transform pain into healing, you are turning venom into medicine. In this sense, the serpent does not live in the past, it lives in you. So I leave you with a question. What serpent stands at the threshold of your life today? What fear, what shadow, what hidden energy is waiting for you to face it? Do not turn away, for the serpent is not your enemy, but your initiator. Its gaze may terrify, but beyond it lies a treasure, clarity, freedom, awakening. The ancients wore the serpent on their crowns, carved it into their temples, and wove it into their myths because they knew to understand the serpent is to understand the path of the soul. That path is yours now. Walk it with reverence, courage, and curiosity. For the serpent has always been waiting, not outside, but within. And perhaps if you dare to listen, its silent wisdom will guide you to shed, to awaken, and to become the one you were always meant to be.